I've been out it a little bit early this morning. Not crazy early, but a little bit early. And it's just about getting to be sunrise here, although it is pretty cloudy. And I don't know how much of a sunrise we're going to see. We're going to head down to the lighthouse as the winds have been super strong. Low tide was very, very early this morning. So the tide is coming in, which is not ideal. But we are going to go down and check out Lighthouse Point. And we're going to do a little bit of virtual shelling and see what we can find. So let's go. So we are here at Lighthouse. We don't have a whole lot of a sunrise going on, but we're starting to see some fun shells. The waves are just crashing. I was hoping that I might be able to shell the great white, but I don't know about that. We'll see. But the tide is coming in, so good news, bad news. I mean, low tide is usually, I know it's really windy, low tide is usually a really great time to shell these beautiful conchs. Obviously, because the tide is low. This little lace mirax there, and a little whelk. But, I mean, people always ask me when I shell, and I say I shell whenever I can, ooh, is this little shark eye? Broken one, piece of a shark eye. I shell whenever I can get to the beach. That's when I shell, and if it happens to be low tide, great. If it happens to be high tide, that's fine too. So, oh, look at this big piece of an angel wing. It's a little bit broken, but it's still really pretty. So when the tide's coming in, you know, yeah, like the waves are gonna come in and take some of these shells away. But it's also going to come in and bring some shells with it too. So, you know, I'm always a glass half full sheller. So this is also why I'm a summer sheller. I know that there's a lot of people out there that are winter shellers, and they'll tell you all day long, get this little whelk, that they're winter sheller people and that they would much rather shell in the winter and they think winter sheller's better. But I mean, it is warm. We've had some warm winds coming through here. Summer storms are starting to brew, and these winds and this warm weather that we've had, I mean, this is bringing in shells. I'm a summer sheller, 100%. So, you know, it's just personal preference, but you will forever find me preferring summer shelling over winter. That's just me. Pretty little apple mirax there. But it is super windy. Here's a little turbo. And this is just, these are just shells that are washed up on the beach, so it's kind of making life easy for me, just walking and shelling. So here's a little tree snail, a little land snail. So a lot of times people will post these to the groups and ask what they are. And these are tree snails that fell into the water and then ended up on the beach. So they're still a shell nonetheless, just one that is from the land and not the sea. There's another little turbo. I love to find these. I just think they're so cool, so fun. Different colors, different patterns. Little juvenile fighting conch there. You guys, kind of a pan of the beach of what we're looking at. Not a lot of people out here this morning. Oh, here's a nice, this is my favorite size of horse conch. And that one's broken, but maybe we'll find a larger one intact. Mirax. A lot of these shells are kind of beat up a little bit because the waves are just crazy, so a lot of these shells have been tossed and turned and beaten up. Here's a little pear whelk, super cute. A lot of the pear whelks, particularly the paper figs, that are very fragile, they just don't really make it. They end up broken. Here's a little cone, a little alphabet cone. It's kind of cool. So alphabet cones are another one that I feel like I always have to pick up, even if they're totally beat up and patternless. This one's kind of cool because you can still see a little bit of the pattern here and the shape, and then it has this little crown of empty barnacles on top. So that one's gonna be a keeper. I think that's super unique and fun. So this is definitely an awesome, awesome day for shelling. I can't wait to get around the corner and see what's in store. Up around the bend, there's my husband up there, and there's the beautiful lighthouse. It's very cloudy. Usually we see the sun rising right about here. There's the clouds there, so I'll keep you posted. Usually we have beautiful sunrises here at Lighthouse Point. It's a most beautiful place to see the sunrise if you are visiting the island. There's another nice little murex there. There's another little whelk. Lots of little whelks this morning. Those are always fun. Here's a little piece of a sea urchin right there. Sea urchins are another very fragile sea creature, sand dollar sea urchins, that a lot of times don't really make it to shore in one piece. And I'm itching to go out and shell that brake line. Here's some morning pelicans. The sun, as I was saying, there it is, peeking through the clouds there, and it is usually just so pretty to see. I'll keep my eye on that for you guys. Beautiful little sights of Lighthouse Point. A little pulp. Love seeing the wildlife in the morning. Love seeing the sun. The lighthouse. It's just a wonderful, kind of magical place to be. Sanibel in general is very magical. If you've been here, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't had the opportunity to visit, I hope that you put it on your bucket list, and I hope that you make it a point to try and come visit our beautiful island. It is truly magical. It is. The entire island is a preserve. So we have so much wildlife here. There are no street lights on the island, and there are a lot of ordinances to the lights on the beach, and ordinances to how tall the beach condos are. So unlike Fort Myers Beach, Naples, Marco, we don't have high rises here. Oh, look at nutmeg. Love nutmegs. Husband's favorite shell, nutmeg here. At night. It's limited on how many people are here. It's a nice paper fig. It is a little bit damaged at the top and on the side, but this is what a paper fig would look like. There's a little sea urchin that kind of made it through. This is what it looks like when they're empty with no spines on them. And here's our sunrise, peeking through the clouds again. Here's a little alphabet cone. Love that. So love those little alphies. Super fun. And let's see what else we've got over here. Such fun shells this morning that we're finding. A little fun conch. There's a little shark eye. Look at this little shark eye. Look how pretty this one is. Beautiful. Another little turbo here, and a little juvenile conch. Lots of conchs. And I do get asked a lot of time too, how come you're not picking them all up? Well, I'd be here all day. For one, I would be here all day picking up all the shells. For two, I do, believe it or not, you guys, I do like to leave some shells for other people. There are other shellers that come here, and that's what I tell people. There will always be enough shells. I know that people think that, oh my gosh, there's going to be no shells for me, but trust me, look at this. Oh, it is damaged on the back You know what, look how pretty that paper fig is. That's gonna be a keeper. That's a pretty one. So I literally would be here all day. I just kind of pick up shells that speak to me. I pick up shells that I think are fun and unique. I pick up things that I think that, oh, here's a little gaudy nautica. Definitely a little bit on the beat up side. You guys can see the pattern there. But here's a little gaudy. Or moonsdale, as some of you may prefer to call it. Here's a little top. So I used to find tops all the time when I was a kid. And for some reason I don't find them a lot anymore. They're more on the rare side. We do still find them, just not quite as often. And here little lace murex. This looks like another good little spot. Check out. And then, you know, down if you get low, this is where you can find some minis and some tinies. So if you're a fan of the little mini and tiny shells, sometimes you just gotta crouch down and you'll find, here's a little whelk. Look how cute this little whelk is. Oh, and here's another little, ooh, is this a little, it looks like a little king crown. Look how cute, oh my gosh, you guys. So sometimes you just gotta get down and look real low and find the little shells. So sometimes, you know, we're all looking for the big shells. Here's a really pretty piece of coral. It's a really nice piece of coral here. And we're all so busy looking for all the big shells that sometimes, you know, we skip right over all the little ones. So don't forget that you know, that there are little shells to be found in addition to all the big shells too. The big shells are sometimes, you know, easier to find, but I know that a lot of you are like me and we just live for those little tiny precious shells. This beautiful shark eye right here. Look how pretty this one is. It is shiny, it is perfect. Wow, that is a perfect shark eye. So many gorgeous shells. Shells. Here's another shark eye right here. Flip it around. Oh, another beautiful shark eye. Look at that one. Beautiful. Oh, I love shark eyes. Here's another piece of coral. We don't find a ton of coral on this coast. We find a lot of it on the east coast of Florida. And most of the coral that I found here is usually up by Blind Pass. So if you're a coral seeker, Blind Pass is usually a good place, but again, with these waves and these winds, here's another little shark eye. So if you want to get down, here's a little bubble shell here. Get down and kind of look for those little minis and tiny shells too. There's a little crab claw there. Another apple murex. Here's another apple murex. Lots of apple murexes. Look at this. Here's a small one next to a large one. Super cute. And we're getting very close to Lighthouse here. And over here we've got a beautiful sunrise. Just beautiful. And here is a very nice looking leopard or calico crab, and I believe he is alive. You guys can see him moving around. And the tide's coming in, so he'll be fine. Let you guys view. It's not often we see see these guys alive. We find their shells all the time. Very cute. Look how cute and how fun. Their shells are very, very pretty. You can see his little eyes in the front there. What a pretty little guy. So that's always a pleasure to see. Shelling right here, okay, as the tide's coming in. But we've got 2 more rack lines up here. We've got this one and then we've got this one. So we've got 2 more rack lines that we haven't even touched yet. And you can see the tide is coming in. Here's another piece of an angel wing here. So we've got, I mean, tons of places to shell. Here's a nice turkey wing. Here's another whelk. I love those shark eyes. They just make me happy. There's a beautiful dark murex here. Really pretty. There's a nice big heart cockle. More waves. See if we get down what we'll find. Another piece of a shark eye. Here's a nice tulip. Look at that tulip. Nice big tulip there. And here's another little tulip. Do you see it hiding in the sand? Cute little parallel. Oh, here's another parallel. Cheaper. And there's a piece of a true tulip here. So many fun things to see this morning. Oh, here's another tulip. Another tulip. Love those tulips. Oh, look at this one. Look at this little baby true tulip. Look how cute. Little mini. Adorable. How cute. I love true tulips. How cute is this one? That is a beautiful little true tulip. Don't find as many true tulips as the bandits. Here's a nice big turbo. Really pretty. We are very close to Lighthouse right now, so you can see the light going on and off there at the top. Can't see it quite as bright during the day. And we've got our beautiful sunrise coming up over Fort Myers Beach. We've got some scallops. We've got some live scallops washing up too, so he's going to try to close. And you always want to watch your fingers with these guys. Do never think that they're not alive. They might close on your finger. But there's the little eyes, if you can see. And when I was a kid, I went to stick my finger in to show my mother. I said, look at the eyes! And it closed right on my finger. And let me tell you guys, it is not fun if you have a scallop close on your finger. But right here are the little eyes. Try to zoom in so you guys can see. cool, right? This little scallop, so oh, Vinny's gonna close. Alright, well, we'll put him over here so he can get back into the water. We're gonna continue shelling. Just focus, focus. And we're gonna come up around the corner and see what we can find around Lighthouse Point. Alright, it's really windy. Really windy. We're literally at Lighthouse Point. So on the point of the lighthouse where the water is swirling around, shells are there, raking in some shells. I definitely don't recommend getting in the water here. The rip tides, as you can see, the waves going every which direction. Lots of rip current here. Waves kind of come in this direction, and then they're coming in at this direction, and they whip around this turn going out towards the causeway. So this is very, very deep water here. It really does drop off. You never see the break line because it's super cloudy today here. But anyway, if you can see the shells bank up here. So this is a good place to show you. We have like this fresh rack line that I always recommend shelling first, especially when the tide's coming in. So you're gonna lose this rack line as the tide comes in. So you're gonna lose it. So shell that first. Okay, then when the tide starts to come in and you lose that line, you can come up to the next one. Okay, which these are kind of all running together. But I mean, you guys, look at these shells. You can come up and you can even like grab a chair, grab a beach towel, sit down, pick a spot, and just sit down and sift through all these shells because, I mean, there's a ton of them. There's everything from cockle shells to scallops to whelks. There's just a ton of shells. Look at all this. So, I mean, there's operculums. Look at this. There's an operculum. So it's not just regular shells that you're finding. You're finding all kinds of really, really amazing things here. There's pieces of sea life. Here's a piece of sponge. This is kind of cool. A piece of sponge on a shell. So that would be kind of cool in a shell bowl. But lots of really cool shells to be had. This is just an idea of the shell piles that are here that you can sift through and look through. Just crazy. Tons of shells. And again, every day it changes. Really, every tide it changes. And I can tell you that the next high tide that comes in, we literally come in and wipe all of this out. And you know, you might come here tomorrow and there might be nothing on the beach. Okay, because that's how quickly it can change. It can literally change day to day, tide to tide. So when the shelling's great, we got to get out here and shell, and we have to be thankful and appreciative of the time we have to shell, because it's not always like this. We don't always have these crazy shell piles to look through. Here's a pretty piece of a true tulips. So when we have these crazy shell piles, that's when everybody tries to get out here and take advantage of sifting through and checking out all these shells, because we just don't always, this is not an everyday thing here. So hopefully that makes sense. Look how fun. All of the fun. Shells. Oh my goodness. So many fun shells. A little spotted Indian boat right there. Slipper shell. Little tulip. Palms floor. Big scallop there. Got a piece of driftwood. Wash it out, but again, it's going to bring some shells in too, so that's okay. There's another little leopard or calico crab shell. Unfortunately, these are so fragile. If I put this in my shell bag, it'll just break. So if you ever want to take these home, you've got to hand carry them. They're very, very fragile, but they are super fun to display in a bowl of shells. Find any little shells. Here's a little coquina. Here's a little mini heart cockle. Look how cute. It's hard to believe they grow to be so big. Here's a really pretty little caramel. Here's a little mini juvenile. And here's a view of the causeway. There's usually not a lot of shells over here, but Barry had taken a little walk while I was filming and said there were some dolphins, so I was like, oh, I'll go film some dolphins. But check out the shell shelf. So all of those waves that are whipping around the corner are making a shell shelf here. Look at the shell pile that it's forming. And then because we're now in the bay and we're not right on the Gulf, you still see some waves, but it's a lot more calm here. So I'll be able to shell the break line, which is my favorite place to shell. And it does drop off like really quick. So this is very, very deep water here, which is why, you know, why they're able to have a pier here, and why the fishing is usually very good. So you have to be very careful that you don't just, you know, step off and off the edge. But I'll be able to shell the break line a little bit here and be able to see a little bit better. And then once the sun comes up and I get a little bit more light, it'll be even better. So look at all of the shells rolling in. I can't even believe it though. I mean, holy moly. So I'm hoping maybe I can get some dolphin footage for you guys. It's been a little while since we saw some dolphins, so I'm excited to see that. But oh, there's a fun whelk right here. Oh, get it? Oh, I got it. Look how pretty. I'm gonna hang on to my phone for dear life, because if I drop it in there, I'll never find it. But this is a really great little shell shelf here. Really great. It is a little cloudy, it is a little murky. Water clarity is not good. But the sun's coming up, so that'll help. And it's just a matter of being patient and checking out the shells. But I can't even believe how many shells are on this side of the pier. Usually there's like no shells on this side of the pier. So that just goes to show like how much the winds and the tides and the waves really do affect shelling. Oh, look at that. Is that a horse conch? Oh, it's a piece of one. Piece of horse conch here. So super fun. And up here, I mean, yeah, look at all these shells. I mean, holy cow. You can stay here all day. All day shelling. All day shelling. Look at all of the shells. Holy cow, my shell bag's getting like pretty heavy. And it just goes all the way down. All the way down and around the bend. So, ooh, there's another big whelk right here. So super fun. So again, it just goes to show, I mean, the shelling was kind of, I mean, it was great at Lighthouse, but the waves were crashing and I couldn't see anything in the brake line, and the tide was coming in and I was losing my fresh rack line. So just remember, guys, sometimes you have to walk. Sometimes you have to travel and you have to go and seek out the shells. They're not always going to be just laying on the beach. Sometimes they are, clearly, sometimes they are, but sometimes they're not. And sometimes you have to go to where there's a shell shelf, or sometimes you have to shell the brake line, or you have to get in the water, or you have to walk a couple miles on the beach. In our case, I mean, you know, Lighthouse Point, the parking lot is closed. So the only way to currently get to Lighthouse is by walking. You have to park at another parking lot, or you have to walk from your condo or your house on the island, and you have to walk down the beach. So, you know, sometimes you can't just drive to the location where you want to go. Sometimes you have to walk, and sometimes you have to walk far. So that's why this shelling is, you know, it's the same thing with fishing, right? I mean, I'm not a big fisher person, but you know, sometimes it's not as simple as just parking and going out to the pier and fishing. You know, I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people that catch fish there, but I'm sure that they don't catch fish there all the time every day. Sometimes you have to get on a boat and you have to, you know, boat out to wherever people boat out to in the water, and you sit there all day and you try to fish. And it's the same thing with shelling. You know, sometimes you really do have to take time and go seek out fishing spots and seek out shell spots, and those spots change all the time based on what? Based on the weather, based on the water temperature, based on the weather pressure, based on the tides, based on storms, based on all kinds of things. So it's the same thing. If it never changed, right, and there were just tons of shells on the beach all the time, there were tons of fish in the water all the time, it wouldn't make it fun. I know a lot of you are going to say yes, it would, but that's because, you know, because you're not doing it every day all the time. If you did it every day all the time, it really wouldn't make it special, and it really wouldn't make it fun. And part of what makes it fun is the thrill of the hunt. What makes it fun is being able to go out and seek these shells and fish and see what you can find, because you never know. You never know what you're going to find. You never know if you're going to find a Junonia. You never know if you're going to find a giant whelk or a giant conch or a true tulip, or you just don't know. There's still shells that I haven't found. I'm still looking for my perfect Scotch bonnet. Haven't found it yet. Maybe today will be the day. Maybe it won't. Maybe I'll never find one. I don't know. But that's the fun of it. That's that thrill of always seeking and always looking for that next amazing shell. So it's another whelk. So you just always have to be going out with a good intention that you're going to enjoy the beach and enjoy the day and have fun. Even if you only find one shell, even if you find a whole bunch of shells but you didn't find the one shell you were hoping to find. You know, even if you didn't catch any fish, that you got to see some dolphins and you got a boat ride and you got a nice tan and you got to enjoy family time or whatever. You got to go on the boat and have fun on a boat day. Whatever it is, you have to still enjoy the beach and your time. You have to make sure that you do that. So the same thing with shelling. If you come down here and it's like this and you have piles and piles of shells to go through, I mean, look at the shell piles, guys. This is not what we see every day here. But if you come down and it's like this awesome, like, gold mine, jackpot, once in a lifetime opportunity, right? Great. But if not, that's okay too. That you're just gonna have just as much fun, I promise, coming out here, finding shells. I can tell you the times that I have found my Junonias, they have not been times like this where there's been a ton of shells. In fact, the first time I ever found a Junonia, I was probably about, you know, way out, halfway between the beach and the sandbar on Marco Island. I think I was in middle school at the time, elementary school or middle school, I can't remember. And I was snorkeling, and I was just going looking for some starfish, and happened to pull up, you know, I was looking for starfish because there weren't any shells on the beach, okay? So I was like moseying in the water, snorkeling, and I pulled up a Junonia. Okay, I mean, there weren't any shells on the beach, so that's why I was snorkeling. The other times that I found Janonias, they weren't when there were a ton of shells. So just keep in mind that sometimes the best shells you find, they're not in shell piles. So just keep that in mind. But when there are shell piles like this, you know, take the time to just live it up and enjoy it. I mean, this is so much fun. I'm seeing so many things that I want to just scoop down, but I want to be very careful because I don't want to drop my phone in the water. And you can see it just drops off right there, right here, and it just goes bloop. And I also don't have beach shoes on, so it is not very kind on my feet right now. So I don't want to miss stuff and go off the edge, but the shelling is just fabulous, and I'm hoping that you guys are enjoying being able to see all these really fun shells that many of you will be able to receive in your Shell Box subscription. If you have not yet signed up, please do. It is a very fun thing. There are no other Shell Box subscriptions on the market currently. Lots of subscription boxes for other things that are really fun, but currently none for shells. You can get them for food and chocolate and clothes and candy, lots of other things that we all enjoy, but no shells. Well, actually now there is. Look at this bright orange scallop. This is going to be so pretty cleaned up. So now you have the opportunity to receive a box of shells in the mail, shipped to your door every single month. And you can craft with them, and you can put them in a bowl. You can send them as gifts. These do make a great gift, by the way, if you're looking for a gift that keeps giving. You can get your mom for Mother's Day, you know, a subscription to each treasure box, and every month all year she will receive a beautiful box of treasures shipped right to her door to make her smile. So that is a really great, fun gift. Is that a little worm shell, worm snail? Look how fun. I love these. I don't find them very often, but somebody in my craft group on Facebook had a big bowl of these, and I thought it was so fun. I'm determined to find a bunch of them and make a big fun worm bowl. I think that would be really fun. Got this little bird here that's been just shelling with me. Here comes a little really pretty pelican. That's like a model pelican right there. Look at that. Do you have a blue eye? You have blue eyes? Oh, he's eating. He's fishing. I'm shelling. Gobble gobble. I don't know if you guys can see his eyes. They're beautiful. You're like a model. Hello. You are gorgeous. Beautiful, beautiful. So I always just love the wildlife as well. I mean, don't forget when you're shelling. I mean, it's really easy to forget to look up, you know. Don't forget to look up and check for pelicans and osprey and fish and dolphins, and you never know if you'll see a manatee, especially out here in the backwater in the bay where it's nice and calm. Even in the Gulf too. Not so much on a crazy windy, wavy day like today out there, but you know, sometimes you will see a manatee. So don't forget to look up and enjoy the sunrise or the sunset. It's so easy to get stuck looking down. This little guy's I'm just following him, and we're just a shelling, you and me, buddy. Ooh, there's a whelk. I see a whelk. Oh. We just had a boat go by, and we've got some big waves. I don't think I'm gonna find that whelk. But you can see how it's pushing all these shells up. It's just pushing all these shells up ashore. Oh, here's another little worm shell. Love those. Well, this turned into a very fun virtual shelling video. Here's a little whelk. Woo! find my fit picks. If you guys are looking for a good pair of boot shoes, fit picks are the way to go. I love mine. I have to find them. Look at all those shells. Get in here and not fall. Calm down a little bit now that that boat went by. You can see some fun shells in here. There's a whelk here. Oh, got a hole in it. Holy whelk. Look at all the shells. I can't even believe it. Holy shells. Unbelievable. Pretty cockle. Can't help but pick up those pretty cockle shells. virtual shelling network. Until next time, I will see you guys soon.